Okay, so wait. Okay.
Welcome to our local podcast, Our Rights After Hours. We're two college students coming together to talk to you about two important topics, human rights and human trafficking. First topic, we're going to talk about homelessness and the rights that they have. As you all know, everyone has rights when they are born. Being homeless doesn't take those rights away. But a lot of the times people think that since you're homeless, they take them away. A few topics that I just wanted to go over to discuss. I was just thinking some involving when the Homeless Bill of Rights became in effect in Ohio and how it has changed throughout the years, involving the healthcare and what the workers have to do, and then also what people are allowed, like in public areas, like if they're restricted or not.
There were restricted public areas?
Well, I mean, like if the homeless are restricted from going onto those public areas, because a lot of times the business owners think that
solicitation?
think that they have the right to, kick them off even though it's public grounds. So the first one, a lot of people don't know that the Bill of Rights was introduced into Ohio. David Kenstrick, he wrote an article about the Homeless Bill of Rights. He talked about how the Homeless Bill of Rights was to protect the civil and human rights of the people while they were suffering homelessness. It was to prevent people from accusing them of crimes just because they don't have a place to live and because of the way that they're dressed, basically discriminating them. And how they were being treated in certain areas, like if they were to go into an office, like a hospital or something, people, like doctors, were discriminating against them, and making them feel like, they weren't real people just because they didn't have a home or an address to call their own. So,
Can I stop you?
Mm-hmm.
Can we start over?
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you want me to play with the camera? Do you want me to zoom in on your faces a little bit periodically and things? You can do that when you're editing.
Okay.
Why don't you guys do it when you're editing? The reason I'm stopping you is in thus far you have said about 300 times, and you also need to speak a little louder.
Speak louder.
And I'm going to shut the door.
You also didn't introduce us.
So
I was like, my name's Summer.
So cut everything at this part. This is not the beginning.
Edit.
Yeah, there we go. All right, good. That was good that you did that because now you can find it easily. Okay, so deep breath. Speak louder. You're speaking at good speed. You don't sound like Abby.
You're just talking to me. You're not talking to the camera.
Yeah, talk to her.
You're not talking to me. You're informing me about what's going on so I can make commentary. And so the people, if they watch, see and listen to that commentary so they have a better understanding. I'm here to support your paper. You are here to give me your paper. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now can I advise on that one?
Go for it.
If she looks over here, she looks at me, then she's kind of looking slightly off camera but kind of including the audience periodically. So, but if you don't want that, if you want the audience to be voyeur, like we're spying on you, then she shouldn't look here at all. So that's the difference in meaning.
Okay.
But she's right, don't look at the camera, look at me.
Okay.
So, okay, but it's what you want. How do you want it to be? Do you want it to be voyeur, or do you want you want people spying on you guys, or do you want the audience you want to break the barrier with the audience?
I feel like that's been the answer for every single decision. It doesn't matter. Do you want to be spied on, or do you want
pretend that there's an audience?
Pretend that there's an audience there, like there's people sitting up there.
I mean, I like the idea of an audience.
Okay, so like Ellen or Oprah when they're talking to people behind them.
Right.
There you go.
So pretend that there's someone here. I'm real, but you can see, but there's people.
Mm-hmm.
But speak louder. Stop the ums.
Got it.
If you feel like an um's coming on, just stop yourself. because you can easily edit that out, the silence out, right? Or it'll sound intelligent, right? Okay. All right.
Welcome to the local podcast, Our Hours After Hours. We're two college students coming together to talk after school and about how daily life activities violate basic rights. My name is Cyndle.
My name is Summer.
Our first topic is going to be about homeless rights and how they're not taken away from a homeless individual. Everyone has rights when they are born. Being homeless does not take these rights away from anybody. Poverty-stricken people should not be treated just like everyone else. Should be treated just like everyone else. They should not be discriminated against due to their living situations. The Homeless Bill of Rights in Ohio helps ensure that the homeless people are being treated equally, just like the people who have homes. Just because of the way that they're addressed doesn't restrict them from any laws or rights that they were born with. The Bill of Rights was developed to prevent discrimination against these people. David Kenstrick has explained in his article about the Homeless Bill of Rights. It is to ensure and protect the civil and human rights of people while they are experiencing homelessness.
So there's been extra precautions to help the homeless
Right.
with this problem of discrimination.
Right. Because they noticed homelessness has been increasing a lot throughout the years. So people were realizing that a lot of the times business owners or healthcare workers or just people in general were treating these people like they did not exist because they didn't have homes. So they felt the need of putting a Bill of Rights in effect to ensure that these people are being treated equally and not discriminated just because, they dress a certain way or they don't have a place to call home or a family to turn to. So they assume that making this Bill of Rights would prevent people from turning against them and basically just pushing them aside and acting like they didn't exist. Also, what most people don't realize is that a lot of healthcare workers have to treat these people equally just like us, whether they have enough money or have a cell phone. But it could be hard just because a lot of these times these people don't have cell phones, so a doctor has a hard time communicating with them or don't have addresses, so it's hard for them to get in touch with them over letter or just in touch with them at all, for that matter. So
Could they use a shelter address?
They could, yes. But a lot of the times homeless, like earlier on, when homelessness first came to be, like, when people were aware of it more, the homeless didn't realize they had shelters that they could go to. So once it became a bigger thing, like a bigger problem, a lot of the time, homeless were more aware that they were able to go to these shelters. And
they made it more public that
right.
they could go somewhere if they had somewhere to go.
Right. And plus, more people that knew about it kind of created like communities that helped develop these organizations, because before now there was very little places these homeless people could get help. And then also, healthcare workers also have to treat them just like they would treat us, so they can't prevent them from being treated to their the fullest that they could be treated. Like, you're not homeless, or healthcare workers aren't supposed to discharge a patient if they're not better, well enough to be discharged.
To leave, yeah.
Right. So if a homeless was to go in the hospital and needs to be admitted, a healthcare worker could not turn them away because of payment. They would have to treat them as if they were one of us going in with a bunch of money and being able to pay all the bills that they needed to pay. And also with homelessness, a lot of these doctors have realized that they don't have the money to afford all these medications that they are giving them, or the hospital visits that they need in order to survive. So they have plans that they can help these homeless people get back on their feet.
Like programs?
Yeah, like programs, or even like like the shelters. These homeless people don't realize that they have access to. Healthcare workers are able to point them in the right direction when they are being released from any facilities, and giving them numbers or addresses where they can go and get the help to find a career, or just to have a job in general, to help them get back on their feet and be able to afford to live in a home and a safe environment. Also, a lot of homeless people, without them having food and water, it keeps their, like, they don't have as much nutrition as we would get throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So to have very little water and very little food, it increases their risk of getting ill, just because they don't have the nutrition that you need. And like working in a healthcare facility, doctors have shown that when patients eat more, they tend to get stronger, and it's easier for them to get out of the hospital sooner because they're eating the nutrition they need to get stronger.
Yeah, they're getting those nutrients and proteins and everything from the food they're getting at the hospital.
Right. And the water.
And not all the random scraps from off the street or from a stranger going by in a car and getting them something. So.
Mm-hmm. And then also something that's been going around with the homeless is being on public grounds. A lot of the times they need restrooms, or they need to clean up, or just a place to rest in general. And they're finding it hard because a lot of business owners are kicking them off of their property because they're taking their customers away, or they're just invading their space, basically.
Like calling the cops, I'm kicking you off, or like I'm gonna go out there with a frying pan waving around.
Basically just saying, could you leave? And then some of them get to the point, like, if you don't leave, then I'm gonna call the cops. So then it kind of enforces them, well, I need to leave, or I'm gonna get in trouble, basically. So a lot of them are moving place to place to place just to find somewhere to rest because they don't have anywhere without getting kicked out. So it's hard for them to find these places where they can just relax instead of being on their feet all the time. And also when they ask for, like, if they ask customers for money or food or something, the business owners also feel like they're taking them,
taking that
scaring
business,
their customers
they're taking
away,
that money, that tip, whatever.
Right, because it's making their customers not want to come back because people are begging them for help, basically. But the business owners don't realize is they have rights to be on public grounds. If you're considered a public ground, then anybody's allowed on it unless they're violating something, like causing harm to someone or themselves.
Yeah.
So it's kind of against their rights if they're being kicked off of public grounds just because of the way, they're trying to survive, trying to live. So it's harder for them. So the Bill of Rights kind of prevents business owners from just kicking them off just because they're homeless. They have to have a legit reason to kick someone off of their property.
Yeah, something that's harming other people.
Right. Or causing
it can't
damage.
Just be you look funny, get out of here.
Right.
I know you don't have a home, get out of here. It has to be something legitimate.
Right. And a lot of the times these homeless people that are looking for help, these people don't want to help them because they feel like they're using their money wrong. Like they're going to use it for drugs, or they're going to use it just to put away for themselves or something. They're not going to use it for something that will help them down the line get back up on their feet.
Yeah, because you never really know where money's going to go.
Right.
You never really know what it's going to be used for.
And that's what helped with the shelters, is these homeless people have chances of going to a shelter where these people understand what's going on with them and know how to help them. So this way they don't have to go out in the streets and beg for food or money, where these people most of the time reject them. And this allows them to get back on their feet and then live a normal life like how we would live. And then also what people don't realize is homes are expensive now. So
extremely expensive.
So a minimum wage job is not going to pay for an average home that's costing now, and the prices are only going up. So people are always like, well, if they really want to, if they want to get off the streets, they'll try harder to get a job, or they'll try. But not everybody has the access of, getting out, especially with them being online now. These people don't have access of internet. They're
to make an application,
right?
To someone in.
So it's harder for them to get these jobs that are being offered. And discrimination is a big thing with jobs too. Like even though a business might say they're not discrimination or discriminating against you, doesn't mean they're not. Like
I feel like it kind of goes the same thing with like teenagers who are still living at home,
right,
and they're like, "Well, I'm working 2 jobs and I still can't get a house." Like
right.
it kind of has that same correlation where like you could work and you could try your best, but maybe you're not there
You're
yet.
not succeeding where enough to get the home. Yeah, and everybody needs help here and there. That's why it's nice that these organizations have created shelters for these people so that they're able to get the help they need or get the food and water that they need to survive. So they're not getting these illnesses or the money that they need to. I don't know if they really get money, but they help them with employment so they're able to get jobs or know of jobs out there. And like nobody wants to work at a job that they don't like. And I've heard many of times from my parents down the line that if you love what you do, you won't work a day in your life. So sometimes people just don't want to do a job they don't enjoy. So it makes it easier if you like your job. So with these facilities, it makes it easier for these homeless people to get access to jobs that they actually would enjoy working at and maybe make a career in the job and build their way up to where they can have a house and keep this career for many years down the line. And also, there's also kids and families involved. So these kids, if they see their parents or see these shelters that help them, they'll realize, like they'll learn, oh, well, this is how you get a job. This is how you're able to get hired in. And if there's young kids on the streets, not a lot of them know, the necessities that you need to get a job, like how you should act or questions you should answer and things like that. So these facilities would help them in that as well. And I guess what I'm just trying to say is that everyone needs assistance from like some point in their lives, whether it is help paying the bills or help finding a new job to create a career in. We all need help here and there. So homeless people struggle each day with these issues and violations of their rights. So what we can do is step up and help them in their career and help them make the right decisions so that they can live a better life down the line where they have a home. So
It's a treat others how you want to be treated kind of situation.
right. Yes.
You want to take a breather?
Yeah.